Tonight, we're just going to do sort of the final updates before the Tulsa State Fair. I hope I address most people's questions, but if you're joining either via Zoom, you can type into the chat box, or you might be actually able to just ask questions directly. And then if you're on Facebook Live, I'll have to check in with the feed when we do that. So we're not very far away, less than a month before the state 4-H horse show, and final preparations are being made. So let's answer a few questions. So what I'm going to cover tonight, just some details relative to when you arrive at the facility and check in, which facilities we'll be using and when. Go back over our schedule, talk about that a little bit, some of our special programs that we'll have going on at the state or at the horse show, as well as how you leave the horse show. And then I'll have a few updates on some upcoming events for those that want to get in on those. So we'll go ahead and get started. So first thing, all livestock and for our horses, you need to arrive only via gate 7. So that's actually on the north side of the facility, and that is on East 15th Street. So all animal traffic goes through only one gate, that's gate 7. There'll be gate people there between the hours of 6 and 10. So you might be able to move around at different hours, but 6 is as early as you're going to enter the facility. And then again, they don't want you leaving. You can't leave with livestock past 10 o'clock because gate people have to check you out. We'll talk about that more as we go. Paperwork that you need, this is just a reminder again that when you do come to the fairgrounds, you need to have 2 forms of certifications for your horse, and that is a Kern-Coggins as well as a health certificate. So make sure that those are updated for you. Again, that is to ensure the safety of all the animals that are there. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Just to the large amount of traffic, we want to make sure that they're all healthy animals on the facility, and that's also with the number of the public that's there as well. We want to make sure everybody is really healthy while they're there. Also, for our youth, if for some reason that your legal guardian is not with you during the event, we do ask that you bring your activities form with you, and that just helps us know any medication you might need, what is available, health insurance, etc. So that's just to help show management out in the event that there actually is some sort of medical event. As far as some other things, I guess I didn't put on the slides, as always, we do have our American Life medical insurance for all of our 4-H events, so there is additional medical coverage for our exhibitors during this event. Stalling, so this picture here actually is a picture of the Ranger Arena, so that's actually where those draft horses are, and then the stalls behind there are the Bronco barn, so that is where our stalls will be. When you arrive, we'll talk about that a little bit more, but I will have the stall plat map there, so you'll go to the show office and then we'll help you find your assigned stalls. And we're going to do the best we can to make sure counties are close to each other, and if you had any stall requests, such as you wanted to be stalled next to somebody, that will facilitate that. In case of any bad weather, so the nice thing is there is a covered walkway from the Bronco barn that goes all the way to Ford Truck, as well as Mustang. So it doesn't matter if it does get really rainy or anything, you guys will be fine. Those show clothes won't get wet, and your horse will look great when they arrive to the arena. Ranger Arena, so if you haven't been to that facility, again, this is another picture of Ranger Arena. It's actually a really nice size arena. It's 100 by 200 feet, so really a pretty big arena. And that's going to be available to our 4-H'ers for warm-up throughout the event. So Thursday, if you're coming early, so you can get onto the grounds by 8. The show office won't open till 9, but we'll talk about that again in a minute. But that arena will be available for warm-up. It will also be available for warm-up Friday and Saturday. So everybody should have plenty of space and time to school their horses before they show. So just make sure you're kind of paying attention to gate calls, etc. The only exception to that is going to be on Sunday, because we're actually going to build the trail course in Ranger on Sunday. So the trail course will be built that morning during the halter and showmanship, and then we'll actually start with the trail once our last class of showmanship is going, and we'll talk about that again a little bit once we get to the schedule. So unloading and parking, because of the amount of traffic and getting trailers in and out, we do ask that you're quick. Don't feel rushed or anything, but we just don't want trailers sitting there, after you've unloaded. And so to expedite that process, we do have staff that will come and help you guys unload. So flag down some of the show committee, and we'll be there to carry stuff for you guys and to help out with getting everything to your assigned stall. So we're here to help. And then once you have unloaded your horse, the trailers don't get to stay right near that barn. So the parking attendants will help you find the trailer parking location. So it is important, whatever tack and equipment that you guys are going to need, make sure that you unload that at the Bronco barn. You can go back to your trailer if you do forget something, but it is a little bit more of a walk. So think about what you're going to need when you do unload. The show office, this year, the show office will be located in the essentially the Ranger Arena. So there's a very nice show office facility there. Officially, it will open at noon on Thursday. So if anybody is arriving early to get settled in before the show starts on Friday, you'll be able to pick up your packets then. The show office will also open an hour before the start of classes. So for instance, on Saturday, when classes start at 8, the show office will be open at 7. Arenas are open for schooling at 6, and then they will close essentially a half hour before our classes start in order to work the arena. And again, the exception of Ranger on Sunday. If you have any questions about anything, make sure you guys do ask show management. So in the show office, Karen Richardson, again, is volunteering to staff that position for us. So Karen has done that for a number of years. So everybody, please thank Karen when you see her. And again, ask any show management. We're here to help you guys, and we really want to make sure that this is a good experience. And we know it's a new transition. Everybody will have lots of questions, but that's what we're there for, is to make sure that this is a well-organized and a positive experience for everybody. So what do you get out of the show office when you arrive? So we'll have our programs that will have the orders of go in there, so you'll know what your working order is. We have our sponsorship information in there, some nice thank yous to those guys. You'll pick up your back numbers. Make sure you don't lose those. So everybody will get your 2 back numbers that you can pin on your saddle pads. We will have pattern books available for everyone. And we will also, as we've done in years past, I will be releasing those patterns prior to the state show. So look for those to be posted. I will post those on osuhorse.com, and I will put a notification on our OSU Horse Facebook page when the patterns are posted. So you'll have a chance to review those before the day. So that will be good. And for those of you that have ordered t-shirts, we will have those as well for you in the show office. So that's kind of the materials you'll pick up there. Entries. So I do want to acknowledge that we did have some rough roads, bumpy roads, getting some of the entries done. So this was a learning process for everybody this year. We took notes on how to make that a little bit smoother going forward. With that said, we do want you guys to make sure When you check in, look everything over carefully to make sure that you're in the right classes and we have the right horses assigned. There were a few glitches I saw when I was getting entries in, and those are only things that I kind of noticed that were out of place. So don't panic, everybody. We're going to work with you. But again, all you have to do is kind of let us know. We'll backtrack and figure that out. So just when you pick up those packets, look at the list of classes that you're in and make sure that we have everything right. But know that we will make this process a little smoother in the future. So that's our goal, is to make this as easy as possible. So thank you for your cooperation as we work on that. Rules, just kind of remember that this is our Oklahoma State 4-H Horse Show, so we will be following the 4-H rule book. So remember, that means for our 4-H horses that our adults are not allowed, or anybody else really, to ride or handle horses that are entered in the 4-H show. So any horse that is shown in a 4-H class can only be handled by that 4-H'er, including the 2-year-olds, of course. Obviously, there are going to be some people they're showing in the open show that are adults, but we'll actually have some color coding on back numbers with horses, and we'll be keeping track of that. So that will be show management's job to monitor that policy. And again, just everybody cooperate with us. We don't want to excuse anybody from the horse show. We really value you guys being there, and don't want anything to happen to make that kind of a negative experience. So please, please, only the 4-H'ers riding the horses. If you do have any questions about the rule book, remember it's always posted online. You can download it or you can just refer back to it online. Again, that is found at osuhorse.com under 4-H and youth activities. So we always have that rule book posted for you guys. Where are you going to show? So Ford Truck is actually going to be the main arena. So that's the big arena with all the bleacher seating that all the big events are held in. We will be using Mustang Arena for cattle classes. So on Friday, and again, we'll go over the show schedule in a second, we'll be using 2 arenas. So we'll be using both Mustang and Ford Truck. They're really close to each other, so there's no worries there. And again, our paddock management team will always know if you have conflicts. So we'll be working with you guys to handle those. Otherwise, the only other show arena that we'll be using, Ranger, which is the one attached to the Bronco Barn, we'll be using that on Sunday just for the trail and the Western riding, and then the rest of the time that will be available for warm-up. So the schedule, wanted to make sure everybody kind of knows what's going on. So all the cattle events are going to start in Mustang because it actually has the cattle facilities there. So we're going to start with the ranch roping with the junior senior, then we'll move to the boxing. So notice that at the same time, we're also doing ranch trail. So I will manage our draw order so that our ranch ropers can get done first before they have to go do the ranch trail. We do realize that a lot of you will have to come back in order to do the boxing, but don't worry about that. We will work you in. So as long as, and we mark all of those as conflicts, they're really, really close to each other. So don't feel rushed at all. We're going to work with you to make sure that you have the adequate time that you need to prepare for your class. The ranch riding, as a note, guys, this is actually the ranch riding. There may be a delay between the ranch trail and the ranch riding. That's because our boxing judges judge our ranch riding. So they're going to have to come over from Mustang to judge the ranch riding. So we're estimating off of our past timing that will be about noon. So don't take that as a guarantee, but that's my guess as to when ranch riding will start. Still, you should have plenty of time to exhibit your animals, no problem, and have some downtime in there. So once we get the Mustang Arena cleared from the boxing, we'll go ahead and set up for our timed events, roping events. We'll get those down and out of the way because actually the ranch sorters will be coming in to set up pens there as well. So we're pretty sure this will work really, really smoothly. And then we encourage everybody to come and watch our 2-year-old futurity at 7 o'clock. So we're excited to see all the work our 4-Hers have done, getting their 2-year-olds ready. Once the ranch riding is done, we will, as always, close the arena to only the 2-year-olds for an hour before they start. Okay, so we want to make sure that the 2-year-olds have plenty of time to get in that big pen, and our exhibitors feel comfortable with their horses before they show them. Saturday, we're only using one arena, so Ford truck, so pretty straightforward. You guys don't have to worry about conflicts. We're going to start with the reining in the morning, and after the reining, we will start with the hunter under saddle. If there are any tack changes, don't worry, we'll accommodate those, but the gap between seniors as well as having the open class, so you see those in italics, that's actually our open classes will come sort of interspersed within our 4-H classes, but that actually gives our 4-Hers time to essentially regroup and get ready for the next class. So you'll see that there is a open class for the reining, the hunter under saddle, and the hunt seat eck. Once we're done with our eck classes, we'll set up for our hunter hack. As always, we'll allow you guys to school over the fences before we actually run those classes. And then following the hunter hack, we're going to ask all of our pleasure type horses to give our speed event horses the arena to warm up. So then it'll be closed to allow those guys a little bit of warm up time. But again, remember, Ranger will be open the whole time. We'll get those horses warmed up, and then we will run our speed events. So we're anticipating this working together really smoothly. Finally, on Sunday, we'll start at 8 o'clock again. We're going to start with our halter horses, so halter mares. There will be an open class, followed by our geldings, and then we'll get started with showmanship. At the same time, we'll have staff that's setting up our trail arena so that you guys will be able to go do a walkthrough. You'll have plenty of time to do that. And we will not start our trail at least until 11 or the start of the 15 through 19 showmanship. Also remember, the senior showmanship, that should say the senior showmanship. And we also have a little bit more of a buffer time there because we have the open class. So Sunday will be halter and showmanship, Western pleasure and horsemanship in the main arena, followed by, or concurrently, we'll have some trail and then Western riding in the Ranger arena. So drawing your attention to some of our other programs that are going on. So our 2-year-old trainer program, again, I encourage everybody to watch what they've done. Again, that's going to be 7 o'clock Friday night. So we're hoping we have some spectators come in as well to watch all the hard work you guys have done to get your 2-year-olds ready this year. And then I want to talk about a few other programs that we are doing this year that are a little new to make sure everybody knows about those. Oh, another note, sorry, forgot about that. T-shirts, so we are still taking orders for our t-shirts. At this point in time, this does appear to be our winning design. So our Oklahoma State 4-H t-shirts always have the design that our youth created on the front and then our sponsor list on the back. So that is a proud way to thank our sponsors for wearing your t-shirts. And order forms for those are also included in your pre-fair entry packet that is coming to you guys. So you will receive another packet of information that it will be emailed to you. So please check that. And that will be coming fairly soon. But any of those t-shirt orders I do need by the 18th, just so we can get our counts finished and get the order placed and have those ready for pickup in October. So this is one that we probably have some questions about. So we are offering a pretty substantial scholarship for our senior division. So what does that mean? Our seniors are in the 9th through 12th grade or have graduated. So if you were a senior and you graduated and are off to college or something like that, you are eligible for that award. Okay, so it's just the senior division, not seniors only. Okay, so anybody that is in that upper age group is eligible to apply for this award. So criteria, we do want to see that you have shown or are showing in 2 classes at the state show. So you must have entered in show in 2 classes at the state show. And then we have an application. So hopefully everyone did receive that. So I had an email list and sent those applications out to those that had entered the state show. But I did get a few emails bounced back, and definitely want to tell everybody it is available. If you need the application, please contact me and I'll make sure that you get that. But please check your email if you have not seen that come your way. So what is, how do you win? So essentially this is a scholarship that looks at all the things that you've done in your horse project. So what have you done as far as your accomplishments, your activities, knowledge gained, community service, leadership, etc. So really looking at who is the most well-rounded youth horseman from what we have exhibiting at our horse show that we receive those applications. There will also be a component where you will be observed, I guess is the right way to put that, just for your overall level of sportsmanship and the care you take with the animal at the show. So there is an element that, so 60% of your award, essentially, or this competition is based on your application, and then 40% of it will be assessed actually at the horse show. And that is both your sportsmanship and animal husbandry, horsemanship, etc., as well as an interview. So that is a little bit more unique piece to this process. Applications for the scholarship do need to come to my office by September 18th. They will then be reviewed by a committee. So we have a panel of people that are familiar with youth development as well as the horse industry that will be reviewing those applications. And then we're actually going to be notifying the finalists. And we have to notify you because we're going to be doing some interviews with you at the state show. And so we need to tell you when to show up for your interview. So we will be doing those interviews, and this may sound a bit confusing, but we'll be doing those interviews either Friday or Saturday night. And that is based off of the finalist show schedule. So for instance, if you're showing a 2-year-old, we don't want you to have to worry about doing an interview and showing your 2-year-old at the same time. So that's why this is still a little tentative as to when that interview will take place. But you will be notified, you will be given a schedule, and you'll have ample opportunities to prepare for your interview at the show. My phone rang. Okay, so, all right. So another really neat program that AQHA is sponsoring is the Ranching Heritage Breeding Program. So they are awarding essentially cash awards for the high point earning ranch bred horse at the Oklahoma State 4-H Horse Show. So you do not have to do any enrollment with AQHA, but you do have to send me the information. So to see if your horse is eligible, a couple criteria: it has to be a registered American Quarter Horse. You can go to AQHA and look up your ranching breeder. So if you look at your horse's papers, look up their breeder and see if they are eligible. If they are, I need your horse's registration number and his official name, his or her official name. I need that by the 18th because I will send that information to AQHA to be verified. So then we will know which horses are competing for this award. And essentially, it is the high point of those horses that are awarded. So whichever horse accumulates the most points out of all classes exhibited receive this $250 cash award. You will also receive a unique ranch horse trophy. So I'm excited to see what that looks like. I actually haven't seen that yet. And then your breeder actually gets $250 as well. So really neat program. Really appreciate AQHA reaching out to us and having us participate in the Ranching Heritage Breeder Program. So again, if you have any questions about that, please contact me. Also, biographies. So if you guys remember from past years, we've had you submit your biographies. And essentially, that's just a 100-word little essay about you and your horse. The idea here is that if you win the class during that buckle presentation, we'll read your biography. So it's a special way to acknowledge your horse, your accomplishments, as well as to share those with the audience. So we really actually like doing that. Please submit those to me again by September 18th. We have to compile the announcer book so that all the back numbers have their scripts, so our announcers can find those pretty easily after the placings are in, so we know whose biography to read. So we're pretty excited about that as well. So again, please send those to me. Also, a new kind of program we're going to be implementing at our state show is our sportsmanship award. So we always really want to encourage good sportsmanship with our youth in our horse events. If you guys recall, we did have a webinar on sportsmanship that was 2 months ago. It was our June webinar. Dr. Karen Waite from Michigan State did a program on good sportsmanship in equine events. And so essentially, if we, as show management, observe extra out of your way are really good examples of sportsmanship, you will win another award. This is not cash money this time around though, sorry guys. But we really just want to recognize our 4-Hers that show good sportsmanship to their parents, to show management, to each other, to their horses, that really make this a positive learning experience and promote youth development. We also will be announcing those winners on social media, so you'll get a little props on Facebook for being essentially a great person. And really want to acknowledge Brian and Michelle Stevens that are sponsoring this award. So really appreciate their support, and I'm excited to implement this new program at our state show. Also, for our class winners, if your class has a sponsor, this year we also want to do a better job of reaching back to our sponsors and thanking them. So if your class has a sponsor for it, and we're still accepting sponsorships if there's anybody out there, we'll actually be giving you a thank you packet. So we'll be giving you a thank you card and some instructions on how to write a thank you note. And then essentially you will give that back to us and we'll get that mailed out for you. So we really just want to make sure our sponsors know how much we appreciate their support of Oklahoma 4-H and our horse program, and think that might be a nice note for those guys to just, again, say thank you for everything they've done. Okay, so some other things. We're getting close to the end, so guys, think about your questions. This is important. When you're leaving Tulsa State Fair, you do need to have a release form. So essentially, this is part of the security process, that you can't leave the fairgrounds with somebody else's animal. So we do not encourage animal theft. So that means you actually have to have a slip of paper that says what animals you're leaving with, so that when you leave through the gate, that you have the correct animals with you. So you can get those at the back gate of Ford Truck Arena. So essentially with our paddock management. If you are leaving, let's say you live close by and you're hauling in and out with your horse and they're going to stay at your house overnight, you do need to have a release form each time they leave, okay? But you, if you're going to your hotel, do not need a release form. So it's only when you leave with your animals that you have to have that release form. So you are free to come and go as you please, but we do have to make sure that the right animals go home with the right people. Also, just a note, so spectators, this is actually, we think this is a kind of an advantage for us. We really want to be able to showcase our Oklahoma youth in front of a wider audience and really show what 4-H can do. Would love to, use this as a avenue to encourage participation in equine events. So we want all of our 4-Hers to know that not all of our spectators might be really familiar with horses. So we really encourage you to interact with people respectfully. But, obviously, if you don't want them to touch your horse, or you might need to look out like, oh, they can't really walk behind them, things like that. But don't worry about this. So the picture that I have there, that's the midway. We don't really encourage you to take your horses on the midway, to be really honest. And so the way that the horse show facility is set up, the spectator traffic primarily is up through the arena and in those bleacher areas. So don't really think that this mass of people is really milling around your horses. That's really not true. We've had no issues in the past. And again, just think this is a great way to encourage people to come watch our state show and maybe get excited about 4-H and what it has to offer. So again, please, talk to people if you have time. If you're not in a hurry, we understand your priority is getting your horse ready. But again, this is just an opportunity for us to reach out maybe to some new audiences and gain some new support. Okay, so kind of done with my updates on the state show. Just want to tell everybody about a few other things. So in November, we do have the annual Horse Science Academy. That is November 9th on a Saturday, and we do that at the Klein Center. So that's essentially a day-long camp. The cost is $40, but it includes lunch and supplies. This year, our topics are going to be using strategic deworming practices and doing fecal egg counts. So the students will actually do fecal egg exams. We could even bring your own manure if you want. We'll also be doing some physical assessment of horses, learning how to weigh them using some tools, doing some body condition scoring. We'll talk about feeding programs. We do a little bit of math with ration balancing, so we mix some math in there. And just a really fun day that we really show how science and math connect to horses and how to make that kind of a fun, approachable topic. So if you're interested in that, it is limited to 40 youth. So please, if you want a spot, make sure you get that now so you can register at osuhorse.com. Look under 4-H and youth activities, and it is the Horse Science Academy. So if anybody has any questions about that, feel free to contact me. Some other things that may be of interest to 4-Hers or their families. So our Center for Veterinary Health Sciences, VetMed Ranch, as we call it, they're actually doing a free castration clinic on Saturday, October 12th. So they are doing castrations for our equids. So this is not a dog castration clinic. So this is for horses, ponies, donkeys, etc. Few criteria: they do have to be halter broke, so you can't just bring a wild stallion that's 6 and say, have fun with this. So they do have to be halter broke. You do have to have a current Coggins on them, and you have to be able to trailer them to CVHS Ranch. Now, participation in the free castration clinic is limited. As you can imagine, they can't, do 40 horses that day. So if you're interested, there is a registration website. Actually, I'm including that in our 4-H newsletter that should be going out either tonight or tomorrow to our 4-H families. So there's a link there that you can register or contact me for more information. Also, for those of you that have been following the Nexus Oklahoma 4-H Equine Makeover Challenge, the finals will be on October 19th, so that's a Saturday. It will be held at Heritage Place again, so we encourage people to come out and watch. So essentially 4-Hers were paired with a horse and they had 90 days to complete their objectives that they defined for their horse. So it depended on the horse and the rider combo. And then those horses, essentially the program is to help transition horses to new homes. So for 4-Hers to work with horses, get them a little bit more training so that they can go on to their new home and be a safer, more suitable animal for their next owner. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's everything that I thought of that people would have questions about. I'm sure there might be some more out there. I'm going to check my Facebook feed here to see if anybody wrote in a question. So please feel free to do so now. Those of you that are on Zoom, you can type in any questions for me. More than happy to answer anything that you have. As always, I definitely encourage feedback from folks, whether it's on new webinar topics. You know, I like to hear, you know, what new programming would you like to see in 4-H or activities that you would like to share. So feel free to reach out. We're always here to have an open mind and see what we can do to help our Oklahoma youth. So let me see, I think I do have a question.
Chris?